Hey, everybody. Here we are with Charlie's Angels, and we're coming in from Shedding Light Podcast. These ladies have started a new podcast. Man, I'm stoked to be talking to them. I'm super excited to have them here. Maybe we'll start just at the top. My top left is Angela. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Paul. Thanks for having us today.
It's awesome. It's exciting. Candy, how are you?
I'm good, Paul. Nice to meet you.
Yes, likewise. Susie, how are you?
I'm great. I'm really happy that you reached out to us because this is exactly what we need. So perfect.
This is all about getting as many eyeballs and as much attention on you guys as humanly possible, because I think what you guys are doing is incredible. So tell me, what is Shedding Light Podcast? Who wants to talk to that?
Candy.
Susie, go ahead.
Whose idea was it?
It was Candy's.
Go, Candy.
Yeah, it was my idea. It was over a year ago that our friend went through something over 3 years ago, but it just came to me that there is so many missing people out there and no one's doing anything about it, and people are just, move on, and they, not that they forget, but they don't put as much interest as the beginning. And I'm like, this is crazy. So we need to keep generating interest in these people. And so I called Susie, and she's like, oh, I don't know. And finally I just said, enough's enough. We're going to do this. And she said, okay, what's a podcast? First of all, she didn't even know what it was.
That's awesome. So we're you guys are moms, sisters, and friends. So who's the sister of who here?
So Angela, I'm Susie, but Angela and myself are sisters. Candy's my dear friend I met, like over 25 years ago. And Candy and I have a little background too. We always try and do something creative in our lives. So we had done a television series, volunteer television series over 10 years ago called Ghost Girls of Simcoe County. So and then you've seen my little videos and stuff. I like doing fun, kind of creative, funny stuff.
Yeah.
And scary stuff. When Candy approached me about this, I honestly just said, I don't even know what a podcast is. So I don't think I can help you out. And we can just go into maybe a little bit more detail about kind of the catalyst behind why it really did push us into this. So it will be 3 years this December that my best friend since I was 5, her son had gone missing. So it was very alarming, and he was 20 years old. And of course, all three of us knew about it right away, and we're at her side and like, what can we do to help? And it was horrific. It was terrifying knowing that he was just out there and had vanished into thin air. So we had kind of rallied around our friend the best we could. We used social media. My sister had a great idea and reached out to another kind of platform, another group called Please Bring Me Home, whose mission is to solicit anonymous tips from the public in order to assist OPP or to assist police in finding missing persons. Their platform is really for cold cases, like anything, very cold. This was only 3 months that our friend's son was missing, but my sister pleaded with them and they agreed to kind of put him on their platform and allow us to redirect traffic through their website. And a tip eventually did come in through there, which led police to the discovery of his remains. So it was not what we wanted. And that's really why all three of us are like, yeah, you know what? We saw what she went through. And it's the most disgusting, horrific feeling any parent could ever imagine. Yeah. So imagine these poor parents, like Candy said, out there for 20 some years, not knowing where their child is, walking past people on the street and thinking, do you know? Did you have something to do with it? And why aren't people helping me? Why have people stopped talking? Right. So that's
I can't imagine the pain. Mm-hmm. Crazy. So I was listening to a podcast about Melanie Ethier. Talk to me a little bit about that. This is a cold case from back in 1996. She went missing.
Right.
Talk a little bit about that. Who wants to lead that?
We'll let Angela.
I've talked enough.
Well, it was Candy's idea to start with Melanie's case. So we'll let Candy talk about that.
Okay. So I'm from the area, And every time I go home, there's this beautiful picture of Melanie on the highway. And I pass by, I think, I can't believe, being from that small town, everybody knew your business, that they haven't found this girl. And it bothered me. And now I'm hearing a lot of feedback that it bothered a lot of people in the community. But I begged the girls, I said to Susie, this is where I want to start. And then we can go from there. But it was something I really, really wanted to do for myself, because I'm from there, and who knows if I end up back there, but I just want to do it for that community, because they deserve, and Celine deserves closure, and we just need some peace there.
The podcast I was listening to this morning is extremely interesting when they talk about she could have had maybe a sister or someone that looked like her there at the same time, maybe some drug issues. It's just super interesting, and I still can't believe after 25 years, is it as cold today as it was then? Like, is there anything happening?
According to the police. The police have shared virtually nothing about the entire case. And if you follow the series of episodes that we've done, we've made it, I think we've mentioned it more than a few times, that really the only information they've ever shared was a piece of info in 2010. So 14 years after the fact that she was spotted on the bridge. And then this past year in January, the OPP released a video about Melanie's disappearance, and they stated that there had been a car on Pine Avenue that her friend saw when her friend left the residence an hour before Melanie did, and it spooked her. And other than those two tidbits, they've basically shared nothing with the public. And that's kind of where we step in, because there comes a point where, yes, holdback evidence is very, very important in an investigation. But after 24 years, and if you remember our interview with Michael Arntfield, after 24 years, the public needs more than that. They need to know which direction to look at. And so that's what we're doing. We're just stirring the pot, and people are talking a lot.
That's awesome. Yeah, this is how I found you too. I found you through Facebook. This is an awesome podcast. You're on all those different platforms. That's excellent. What about Luke Jolly? Where are we there? Are we going to talk about that? Are you guys going to cover that?
We haven't really
Susie,
let that out of the bag yet, but that was where I wanted to jump off of next. So I have spoken to his father a few months back and let him know what we were doing in terms of the podcast, because we were fairly new, but we did want to get his blessing. We haven't spoken to any other family members yet, and I have been in touch with one of the detectives on the case, so we will be starting to dig into that. We've started some background research, but yeah, he'll be the next season, so there will probably be 5 to 6 episodes on Luke as well, depending on how much information we glean and how many tips and people are willing to discuss and come forward. So that kind of steers it. We weren't sure where we were going to go with Melanie, and literally we just finished recording our last episode the other night, and we were all bawling at the end, because you feel like
yeah,
you feel like you're closing the door, but you're not.
But we're not.
And stuff just continues to come in, so it's really hard because we have full-time jobs. So I mean, right after work, we're on our phones, or in the morning, or on lunch break, or while you're having a break, or late at night, or early in the morning. So it's just constant. And there's either, we get Facebook messages, or we get texts to our cell phone, or we get emails and people asking us to call them or to answer back. And so many willing citizens that are coming forward. And that's what we're asking. We're asking people to listen and try to recall things and get engaged and talk to one another, and talk to us if they're not comfortable going to the police, or if they're not comfortable going to Crime Stoppers. Because in a lot of these situations, these people have never talked to police before, because they feel like maybe their information isn't valid and they don't want to send anybody on a wild goose chase. But we're more than willing to go through it and provide it all to the police. So
yeah, that's great. I think even just listening to that podcast from this morning, you know, if I was there, if I seen something, it may have triggered it, just listening to that officer and you guys interviewing him, because he had a lot of great things as well. So Luke's been missing since March 4th of 2011. So we're almost coming up to 10 years for this young man. And Sandy or Candy, like Mrs. Etche hit you pretty hard. This one hits our community hard too, because he's local. So I can't imagine what the parents' grief are, his father, the mother. I mean, just nobody should ever have to go through this, you know, no parent. I mean, we're all parents here, so I can't imagine their pain.
I think one of the most difficult things, whether it's a small town or a close-knit community, is you know that there are members of your close-knit group that know what happened in your community. So everywhere you go, you're looking at faces. You begin to not trust a single soul. And how sad is that? Because everywhere you go, you see a face and it's like, did they do it? Did they know? Did they hear something and they're not sharing what they know?
Yeah.
So it's absolutely heartbreaking on so many levels.
These people that do these crimes, you know, they need to come forward. I can't imagine living a life looking over your shoulder at every point, every day, like because you know we're coming. They are going to get found. It's just timing, right?
Yeah.
We've discussed that. We've said, you know, we don't understand, and you're a normal person, and we think we're fairly normal, but we can't fathom having that on your conscience all your life, or not doing the right thing. So that's why we need help. So we need community to help. And in Luke's case, I think his case is very, very active. Maybe in comparison to Melanie's, I think maybe over the years the tips have trickled to kind of like a slow trickle, versus I believe they haven't even caught up on all of Luke's tips yet. They haven't even followed through on all of them yet. According to Detective Dave Wilson. So there's going to be, we might have to tread a little more lightly in that case, but like we said, we're allowed to do some things because we're public that police officers can't do. So we kind of, we're cautioned, and we don't want to ever impede an investigation, but we just want to help. So we help in the best way that we can.
And any exposure helps. Yeah, people start talking. Look at Melanie. They didn't talk about it for a long time, and now it's the whole community's talking. I'm getting, my family still lives there, my friends, and they're just saying thank you, because no one was saying anything. The police weren't sharing enough information. They didn't know half the stuff, and that's a community. You trust your community.
And we've heard from so many people that they say, we've lived here for the past 24 years. We were here when Melanie disappeared, and we didn't know any of what you've shared in the podcast. And so they're coming forward with all kinds of very interesting information. And we share it all with the police.
That's great.
I think it's helpful too, because some of the rumors that I think have been circulating, because they started with maybe, like we've mentioned, a grain of truth, but after they get retold so many times, they get misconstrued. And I think we've kind of helped put some of those rumors to rest, like the confusion with some of the girls that look like Melanie and like that. So I think that it also is a service to the public too, to maybe calm down some of the rumors, or to be more gentle on some people that aren't involved.
Yeah.
Well, and look at the boys. They were polygraphed, but no one in the town knew. So they kept blaming them, and they didn't know that they'd been polygraphed and interviewed, and they took a lot from that town. And I just felt bad for them, because they really had nothing to do with it. But, you know, I think they're thankful now that, you know, the truth is out.
Almost. About them. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do we want? We want people to watch this video, but we want them to share it. We want them to get on your channels, share those channels out in all the different platforms. It looks like you've got all those platforms covered. Good job, whoever set those up. Who's the tech?
Angela.
I am not techie. I couldn't even.
And we're on Instagram now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen Instagram, so.
Who came up with the name Shedding Light?
Candy.
Candy.
Love it.
Oh.
Who
Do you
came
like
up with
it?
the image?
That was actually a local North Bay girl.
Very nice.
Sydney Hoffman did that. But it was
Sid.
kind of.
She used to work for us.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we said it was kind of our idea what the image would look like. We said we need the three of us. And if you look in the lantern in the image, there's the image of our friend's son is in the lantern. That's his face. So we had to do it from 3 different locations. So we gave her, Sydney took my picture, but the girls had pictures taken of themselves, and then we sent them to her, and she came up with that whole logo. My son's actually drawn us another logo, which I think a couple of us are going to get tattooed on us. And the song, we have to mention the song. So if you listen at the end of the podcast, you'll hear the whole Shedding Light song.
Theme song.
Okay.
Theme song. Those are Candy's lyrics, and a very good friend of hers. You can tell who he is, Candy.
Well, he's Sonny Boy Mick, but he's Steve and McPhail, and he is like amazing. If anybody needs anything from him, he is like a gifted musician, I'll tell you. And he did it all volunteer for us. It was, I can't thank these people enough, but they're so committed. They're just as committed as we are.
This is a full-time job we have, and we don't get paid for it either. So it's so wonderful when people volunteer their services, because we have a lot of costs.
There are some costs involved for sure.
Yeah.
We opened up the conversation with me teasing you about you guys being Charlie's Angels. But seriously, you guys are angels, and you're bringing a message to the community that needs to hear it. So well done.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bosley.
As Charlie or Bosley would have said, well done, angels. It's outstanding. And that's kind of why I'm very excited about this stuff. I find it very interesting. So to have you guys on, I really appreciate it. Is there anything that we're missing that we want to make sure that whoever's watching this says, does, looks at? Is there anything else in parting comments from each of you?
Well, I would like to say that even last night we got an email in the middle of the night from somebody who thought they found Sarah, the young lady that we think may hold the key. And it wasn't Sarah. We know who it was that she thought, but that's wonderful. We have people out there, and we appeal to all the armchair detectives out there that we can't do it all. That's why we're doing what we're doing through social media, because it's the public that is going to solve and resolve this. And I just want to put a little plug in there, girls, that Monday morning we were very excited because we got a notification that we had 3,500 downloads. And I think we released, it was over 2 months ago, wasn't it? No, almost 2 months ago, I guess, we released our first podcast episode. So Monday morning, 3,500 downloads. As of this morning, we're at 5,300. So in 7 days, we're going to double it by the end of this week. Easy peasy. So really the momentum is starting to build.
Huge right now. Yeah.
Awesome. Candy, what about you? Final words?
You know what? I just want to say, be a kind human being and just share and help each other out. That's it. It gives you great pleasure. Like you say, we don't get paid, but I think we get paid in feeling good. Because I said this is probably the most rewarding experience I've had in my life. Even though we haven't found Melanie yet, we have had her name out there so long now, and people are talking and more, and we will find you.
Absolutely. Susie, what you got?
Kind of echoing what the girl said, I think it's just really important for people just to, if people would please share, even have a listen, but please share, because the more listeners we have, the more chance we have at all of these people that we're going to be looking for. And we don't plan on stopping. Our commitment we made to each other the other night was, we're going to do this until we can't do it anymore, till the day we die. It's not something you want to retire from. Like Candy said, it's the most fulfilling feeling to know that you're helping somebody like our friend who went through the same thing. And I think that's why we do it. And yeah, Luke's podcast will be coming up. And like we said, we've been researching Melanie's for 4 to 5 months now. And there's a lot to it. So there'll be a lot of information put out there. And we really, really hope and pray that Melanie's case will get solved. And we have a good feeling that this is the year she's going to come home. And we'll put that much effort into Luke's as well. So everybody share.
It's awesome.
North Bay, help your community.
Absolutely. I'd like to appeal to the person or people that did this. Do the right thing. Come forward. There's too many people suffering. You did the deed. Come forward. Let people know it's the right thing to do. So listen, ladies, thank you so much. This is the podcast called Shedding Light. You can download it on Apple, on Spotify, on Listen In or Listen On, and probably a few more. Incredible stuff. Ladies, thank you so much for coming on. I greatly appreciate your time.
We appreciate you.
Thanks, Paul.
Okay. Thank you. Don't go anywhere, but thank you.
Okay.